Okay, man. So it's been a very long time. So, give me a bit of an update, man. What do I need to know?
Yeah, well, I've been like moving and stuff and just trying to grind away, focus on other things, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I've fallen from like master preseason to D1 and then down to D3.
Okay.
I'm back to like D2, D1,
Mm-hmm.
so things are kind of looking up. But basically, I kind of just feel lost. Like I don't know what to focus on. It feels like my issue, like overarching issue, is just consistency. Like I don't think it's a lack of like game knowledge or win con assessment stuff like that. I just think there's so many moments. I guess that's like lull state usage.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. I don't really know where to go from here.
Okay. So let me just clarify a few things. So you've come back off a break somewhat recently, correct?
Not really a break, just kind of a yeah. I've still been
Well,
playing a good amount, like
right. You didn't
15
really.
games a week. Now I'm trying to do like 20, 25.
Right, but before that, like that. Okay, before you started to do 25, you're playing this 15, but was it kind of like 15 going through the motions, or was you were still trying pretty hard?
It just felt like it was a big mental block, is a better way of phrasing it. Like
Right.
I wasn't not trying. I was still like intense, but
Right.
yeah,
And the reason you didn't come to a review earlier is that just because it just wasn't your priority. You just had other things going on, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So basically, you're looking for a little bit of direction. You're feeling pretty inconsistent with your gameplay. You think you just want to basically know where to focus on, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Lovely. Let's take a look. So we've got Yone v Akshan. Actually, quite an annoying matchup for Yone. You've actually opted in for a very interesting setup. I cannot stand Fleet, but you've actually gone for the opposite. You've gone for the Fleet with the D Blade rather than the Conqueror or at least, sorry, Lethal Tempo with the D Shield, which is interesting. Any
Yeah.
any particular reason? Is just preference or?
I've been kind of experimenting with it in range matchups, going fleet. It feels good with for trades, unless I really feel like I'm going to get the value of lethal, especially with a lot of the nerfs to the
Mm-hmm.
runes that you
Mm-hmm.
go with lethal,
Mm-hmm.
including lethal. So it feels good to me, and
Okay.
if you go fleet, you kind of can go Doran's Blade instead of shields.
Okay.
Depends on the matchup though.
And I'm assuming you just want to take it slow, relax, allow yourself to get shoved in, play off the bounce wave
Yep.
or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much not really trying to do anything. Just let them push it in.
Yeah. 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 This is not really a matchup that you really have that much early proactivity. Got to be very careful
See, like
here.
right there, he couldn't get the PTA because of
Yeah,
fleet.
because of fleet. Yeah, that's an interesting usage of fleet. Actually, I actually haven't seen it used like that, but it makes a lot of sense. I believe Jarvan started bot side. And so, out of interest, have you seen any trends with your gameplay right now, or is it all just very random?
Um,
It feels like you're making like a lot of differing mistakes, and the types of games you're losing is just different every time.
It just depends on what I'm focusing on. Like this game, I wasn't really focused on jungle
Hmm.
much, and I kind of got lucky that I didn't get ganked, but that could have been a problem. I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. Mostly like
Right.
threat assessment, and just like going for plays that don't make sense,
Okay. Okay. So,
like this one.
right. All right. So let's take a look at this. So, Akshan's still shoving us in. I mean, we're in an incredibly good spot here. We'll take an excellent trade here. I mean, this is amazing, right? I mean,
Yeah, and then I
even that
just
is fine. Like you can,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, you don't probably need the exhaust. I think even just the short trade here, like that, with the Q, not probably another Q and
Mhm.
back off is completely fine. You've got second wind. You've got fleet. You're in an excellent spot. Um, and this is the sort of mistake that you've been making these random decisions like that.
Actually, that one was like usually with lethal, I would have gone there, so I would have just flashed. So it was kind of a brain lag incident. But
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Echo comes by for the drive-by. This actually kind of bails you out of that unfortunate situation, which is very
yeah.
nice. We definitely need to be trying to get a reset in a second. Try to get the wave out. Lovely. Beautiful. Well done. Okay. A little bit crazy, but get out of a sticky situation. Okay, moving on. So pretty straightforward so far. I mean, I think it was a bit of an unnecessary all-in at level 2, but like you said, you probably didn't adapt to the rune that you had, right? I'm assuming. Akshan, let's take a look here. So Akshan has a little bit of tempo. Looks like he hovers bot side. Thanks to that lane ward there, we're able to see him move bot side here. It's hard. I mean, it is a decent amount of gank set up bot with the Vigar, but I doubt that he's going to commit. You'd have to see how bot lane is looking. So based off the way it's looking right now and Akshan not showing mid, given Vigar does have a decent amount of gank set up, I would still be pinging Danger bot. Personally. If it was a less volatile matchup, then probably not. And there it is.
Yeah, it feels like this game was a lot of me just kind of autopiloting on like waves, and Akshan kind of getting his way around the map.
Right. So you can see how in hindsight, right, given all the information, given the amount of gank set up from bot side, given we actually see Akshan on bot side, in my opinion, I would rather ping Danger and be wrong, and then Akshan just randomly pop up mid, than him be right, because the trade-off is so large.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah? Cool. Alright, so Echo seems to be in a good position. Luckily, the gank actually, I mean, I think he burns sums and obviously forces your bot lane to lose a wave or two, but at least he doesn't get a kill. You're in a very good spot in this matchup, though, that's for sure, because he ends up missing a lot of farm. You're in a really, really good spot. I actually think you just win the matchup, in my opinion, at this point. I mean, you just got to utilize your XP advantage, though, still. So, out of interest here, why did you shove this wave? What was the thought process?
Not sure. Autopilot, I think.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like we're getting much value from this particular wave state. In my opinion, it would be better to have the wave a little bit deeper on your side, or even neutral.
Yeah.
Right?
And maybe I just thought I could push it in and then base, but it doesn't make sense with how soon he's going to get back.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit strange here. So far, I mean, I'm trying to, again, a bit early into the VOD, but I'm trying to pull a thread, or find a thread through all of these decisions, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. It does seem like a little bit of potential autopilot. I'm not sure. Or like I'm having a blasé mentality. It's hard to say. Okay. We've got an incredibly big XP lead. Basically a level. Nearly a borderline a level. Okay. Wave's in a very good spot. Pull it, pull it, pull it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I mean, I think just freeze here, no?
I should have, yeah. I could have gone and helped Echo too. So this was definitely a mistake.
I think just freeze, pull it, and then help Echo, yeah. And because Akshan's just completely zoned, he's going to lose another entire wave again. That's three wave management mistakes, in my opinion. So far. Okay. So Echo ends up going for the play, ends up dying. We try to help, but it's too late. Akshan does end up missing the wave anyway. Okay. So, you're kind of in the driver's seat this game. I mean, you've been handed a pretty significant lead on a platter. Now, walk me through this. What's going through your mind here? So, Akshan obviously has to reset. You shove this one in, and then you see Jarvan go
I start
bot.
walking bot because there's a fight.
Yep.
And I see like kind of low health bars, and I'm level 7, so I think I can do something.
Okay.
And then I see Jarvan coming up. I'm like, oh, he's gonna go for a dragon. So I just sit here and see what what I can do. Kind of a weird play.
I think the play works.
Then I missed everything.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of misexecution. So let's take a look at this. I think all you do is just hold. Just keep autoing him, right? Your Q3 stays for ages. Look how long you have to use that Q3. You can just auto. And then you have your Q3, or you have your E to chase if need be, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, I should have held E as well.
Yeah. Should have held E. You should have held both, to be honest, and just autoed him to death. But yeah. Or just use one of them, not both. Okay. So, a bit of a missed kill opportunity. Echo goes for an invade, which is really, really, really not good. You need to spam ping back here. Like, you're not helping here. You've got no ult. You're sitting on a metric ton of gold. Okay. So that's, as long as you communicated your intent and you ping back, there's only so much you can do. I think you could have pinged a little...
Pinged earlier.
Yeah, a little bit better. But not too bad. Okay. So moving on. We're still in a great spot. I think Echo's, made a bunch of mistakes, but he's still in the game very much so. I think you just win straight up now. I think you just stat check, right? In my opinion. Like, whenever Akshan's down in XP, it's just an absolute disaster. As long as you don't die to a gank, I think you can kind of take over this lane. Okay, we do have flash. Jarvan shows bot again. Akshan is actually staying here. Walk me through what you were thinking here.
Oh. I think I was trying to let the wave push in at this point. Or seeing if I could find an all-in angle. Bit of both.
It'd be good to get that Q stacking here so we can fish for something.
I wasn't thinking about his E enough this matchup at all. Like I was thinking about like trying to get on top of him, so he couldn't E, but I don't think that was like the best way to think about it.
Okay, so I think in this situation you're giving him way too much space. I think you're giving him too much space here to like finish the wave out, and I also think that you could be doing a better job of stacking your Q because your threat's coming from the Q, right? Like I think that you've left your Q too late, and then he's basically gotten the wave before you even gotten your Q2, let alone your Q3. And on top of that, that's just an R angle here, is it not? He's jammed up against the wall. He has no E. What is he going to do?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I had the damage there, but I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did, in my opinion. Okay. Okay, we get a bunch of sums. Not too bad. Jarvan tries to clean us up. Okay. So, okay. Again, there's a lot of little details here that we need to get into. But I just want to kind of skim forward again and try and get a better feel of what's actually going on here. So, out of interest, I've got a few questions about your process. So, what's your Are you playing in 3 blocks? Are you reviewing? Like, what's it look like?
Yeah, I'm playing in 3 blocks. I'm kind of focused on playing more rather than reviewing lately, just because I'm trying to like find what to do. But yeah, for the most part, I review like probably 75% of games.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
And I do warm up every day.
Okay.
Before.
Interesting. And when you got Master Tier, were you predominantly only playing Yone?
Only Yasuo, pretty much.
Right.
20% Yone.
Right. And has that changed in terms of priority recently? Or are you still prioritizing Yasuo?
Yeah. I'm like 40 or 50 Yasuo, 30 Yone, 20 Ari.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. So, Akshan had a little bit of tempo and end up just roaming bot. Actually, not even going mid, just roaming straight bot, which was actually quite a nice play, but ends up dying for it. You loop around because you actually see the Karma here, so you get a nice little pick with the Echo. Okay. That's fine. That's completely fine. Okay, let's take a look at this. Again, I'm not a big fan of the E here. I'm not a big fan of the E. I don't think you need to E. I think it's much better if you just Q3 and then because
I'm rushing abilities like all this game. I think that's definitely something to take away.
Yeah. The reason I asked you about your champ pool, man, is that a lot of the things I am seeing here, man, I'm not going to say it's champ mastery, but you don't look confident on your Yone. And it looks like to me you're kind of... I don't see how you would ever get to Master Tier playing Yone like this, is what I'm saying. Which either says to me that you didn't play Yone all that much when you got to Master Tier, or this is uncharacteristic. Or you got worse, which can happen when you don't play much, but you said you've been playing pretty consistently from that point. So that says to me, and the reason I ask is I think that most of your LP probably came from another champion. Yeah, that's at least my observation so far. Like your
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like your lack of matchup understanding in terms of your ability interactions, your mental stack seems a little bit overwhelmed. You don't know how to approach skirmishes. There's missing abilities, missing kill threat ranges, and a lot of the time when I do see a lot of the time when I see people miss map plays, especially if they are playing intense, it stems from them panicking, and it's some problem with champ mastery. They're not feeling extremely confident. And by the way, how recent has it been since like you've shifted your priority in terms of like you went from being predominantly a Yasuo player to a Yone player? Is that somewhat recent?
Like of late, I guess I kind of started picking up Yone again recently. Like I've always been playing him, but it was mostly Yasuo for a while. But like last season, I started playing Yone. I played like hundreds of games.
Yeah. No, but like when did you switch the priority from Yasuo? Is that like at the start of the season? There's been a few months where you've been prioritizing Yone more?
My prio is still Yasuo.
Oh, right, okay. But you said it shifted from being like 70-30 to like whatever it was now, like 40.
Yeah.
Was that recently?
Yeah, sorry, that was like last week probably, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Where I started picking up Yone more.
Okay. So just quickly taking a look at this Vigar 1v1. I mean...
I just thought I would get out of the stun in time.
Okay. Just another small champ interaction thing. Okay. So moving on a little bit. Akshan has now got Gale Force, which is quite annoying. Jarvan's very, very strong, but doesn't work too well into your champion. Bot lane is kind of getting annihilated. Top's pretty even. Echo's also quite strong. What's going through your mind at this stage? You remember?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay. How long ago was this game? Out of interest?
It's just like 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, like the last time when we were reviewing like 3 months ago, the main thing we were talking about was like reference points, and I feel like I haven't made a lot of progress in just kind of framing the game around reference points.
Yeah, 100%, and that's literally what I was probably going to get to in this one. Like, the vibe I'm getting when I'm watching you play is that you don't have any overarching thing of like what you want to do as a Yone player. I don't know if you resonate with this, but sometimes it feels like when I'm watching, at least what I'm seeing here, it almost feels as though you're playing League of Legends. Just like you're just playing League rather than playing the game of League through Yone, if that makes sense. Like you're kind of like walking around the map, killing people, and responding to situations, and rather than trying to win the game through the lens of like Yone specifically, if that makes sense. Like it almost feels as though you're taking like a very facilitator approach to the game, when Yone is more of like a very particular way. It's a very particular carry. You're kind of playing like I would as like a TF or something, if that makes sense. Kind of. Just,
so what should I be doing pre-level 11? Because I feel like once I get into the side lane, the game becomes really straightforward. But up until that point, yeah.
Okay, so
Faker finally gets his ring.
Mid-beast, go away. Okay, so basically the biggest thing missing here, man, is that you're not playing to dominate your opponent. Okay, so how do I frame this? if we actually take a look at each and every one of the decisions that I nitpick, right? Whether it was pinging Akshan roaming bot side, whether it was letting the wave come back out of your side rather than perma pushing, whether it was freezing that wave when Akshan, got chunked out by the Echo. Like, each of these situations that even past that point, if we actually kind of go further from that point, I think it was after this, around here. I mean, situations like this, where Akshan obviously wants to get the wave out. I mean, it kind of looks like to me a combination of two things. It's a combination of not really trying to absolutely dominate your opponent, as well as there's a lack of execution stemming from maybe an unfamiliarity with this particular matchup, or stemming from a lack of confidence, or again, just not being overly that good at Yone, right? And that's something that we can work on. And what I mean by that, okay, so dominating your opponent.
I actually totally resonate with it, because I think you're completely right that I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not following him around the map when I should be warding it out, like any of that.
Yeah.
I'm just all I'm thinking about until 15 minutes is farming.
Yeah. So okay, so you've probably heard me talk about this Jaeger bomb at some point in coaching sessions, where the way I try to teach threat assessment nowadays isn't like, here we go again, set a timer on your phone and ward every 30, ward every minute 30. It's like, okay, we understand that this champion threatens us, therefore, as a natural extension of our intuition, or a natural extension of how scared we are, of course we're going to ward and lean. Like, the analogy I use is when you enter a car, your default response a lot of the time is to put on a seatbelt. Not because, yes, there's an element of it just being a habit, but also you understand how dangerous it is to not have a seatbelt, right? It's like, it's common sense that you would put on the seatbelt. Or when you're going up a steep staircase, you're going to hold on to the guardrail, right? Because it's like no shit, because I value my life. I understand how important it is for me to hold on to, to not fall, right? So notice how, you do these actions, not because you're told to do them, but because you had to study a book that tells you how to hold guardrails properly. It's because it's a natural extension of fucking valuing your own life and your safety, right? The same thing applies to everything that we've spoken about in terms of dominating your opponent. If your mindset is, okay, how do I make this guy's life as miserable as possible within the guidelines of playing in accordance to my champ's identity? Of course you're going to value farm. Yep, that's spot on. Of course, you're going to look for opportunities to take raptors. Of course you're going to play off particular power spikes. Of course you're going to, play off your R cooldown and all this stuff. You're going to do this stuff. That's a given. But remember, it's like, these are things we have to take into account with the mindset of, how do I make this guy's life absolutely miserable? It feels like when I'm watching you play, though, you're sticking to these guidelines, but it almost feels as though, you're doing it out of rote learning rather than trying to just kill this guy and make his life miserable. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So the advice that I would give you, and I think there's something we're going to have to work on, is when you come into a game, right? Rather than saying, is what I did correct? You should come in with a question saying, if I was the Akshan, what would make me feel the most uncomfortable? What would make me hard? There's a Kobe Bryant quote that I was watching, these interviews with Kobe Bryant. He says, basically what I did in the off season is that I would say, what would make my game the most difficult to deal with? What would make my game impossible to beat? What would make me so hard to defend? And then he would make a list of all these things that it would be really hard to deal with a player, all these skills that sort of player would have. And then he would spend the off-season focusing on one of them at a time, each off-season. Until you do that for years and years and years, and then you have this fucking insane arsenal of skills that you can fall back on to be hard to beat. But notice how he didn't say, the question wasn't, how do I become a better player? It's, what would I need to know, or what would I need to do to be hard to deal with? What would I need to do to be hard to beat, impossible to beat, hard to guard? So I think if I were you, in my reviews, to develop and refine this mindset, I would go into the review asking myself, well, don't view it in black and white, yes or no, this is what Yone does or doesn't want. View it as, okay, yes, there's an element of I need to think about what Yone wants as a champion, but also, what would suck for the Akshan? And any of these, like, it would suck if you pinged out, like, you warded the middle of the lane. It would suck if you pinged him out bot. It would suck if you held that wave. It would suck if, what was the other one? Yeah, held that wave and then didn't hard jump and give him free farm under tower. That would suck for him because he'd have more of an extended lane. So you see how that's a combination of two things. It's a combination of a mindset and like dominating your opponent, but it's also it's seeing how you can apply your skills. The interesting thing with you, Jaeger, is that it doesn't seem like you don't have the skills. It seems to me you have these skills. You have an understanding of all the concepts I'm explaining, like the wave management and, all that shit. What it seems like you're missing is the application or how to apply these things. And I think in our last session, like we spoke about reference points, I think I was very close to the mark. Or maybe I was on the mark at that time. But at least what I see here with your Yone, it basically is a reference point, isn't it? Dominating your opponent is, in a way, it's kind of like a higher level reference point.
Right.
But I don't think what you're missing right now, from what I see, is a reference point of like, this is what Yone wants. I think it's actually better for you to be a little bit more free flow, because I think then we'll be able to figure out what you want your reference points to be rather than pulling them out of thin air. I think it's better to kind of be free flow and be more, what do I need to do in this matchup, in this moment? If you want, we can set very like baseline, reference points, like, getting to Zerka Greaves, playing off, your level 6 spike, shit like that. But in my opinion, and Noon Quiver spike, and these are all your spikes, But at the end of the day, and really valuing your farm being your priority, you really want long lane states, shit like that. But I think this is stuff that you already know. Like, I think this is stuff from what I can tell. It seems like it's what you already know. I think what you're missing right now is this mindset. And then at that point, if you want to dominate your opponent, right, as well, embedded within that is, of course, you're going to make calls to say no to invades when Echo moves in there, right? If you want to shit on your opponent and you don't want anything to happen, because remember there was this play, right, where like, I can't remember where it was. Remember that play where Echo went into that jungle, right? I think it was around here. Yeah, before. And you wanted to reset.
Yeah.
Right? It's so interesting because, like, when I look at it, it's like common sense in a way. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you in this moment that you got to ping him back. But it's like, well, I'm a fed Yone that is like a level up on Akshan. I have 1,400 gold with no ult. Fuck off. I don't want this to happen. Because how do I dominate the game? How do I be the most hard to deal with champion? You're a Yone, dude. You're not a facilitator. You're a carry. Right? And yes, sometimes there is going to be situations where you're going to have to adapt to whatever's happening around you. But I don't think, like, we can get to that on a case-by-case basis, of course, but I think right now you're missing the other side of things, you being a carry, and then being able to know what to say yes to and what to say no to. And if this is the mindset you develop, then, right, the problem that you're inevitably going to face, what we're going to have to work on incrementally then, is then, okay, with this mindset, okay, I want to go in to dominate my opponent and express my best self and do my best doing this, then we actually get to see what you genuinely believe to be true. Then we'll get to see what you genuinely believe is the right play. And then, only then, can you get actually exposed, and then we can actually see what is it that you don't understand. Because when I did this VOD, man, with you, it feels very, like, I can't tell what you do and don't know. It's very difficult for me to, like, say your skirmishing is bad, or your micro is bad, or your wave management is not good, and all this shit. It's so... I don't think it's fair for me to say that,
It feels like I'm playing safe and, like, unconfident, and, like, I'm not even putting myself out there. That I get the same vibe from watching this game.
Yeah. So, I want you to... I know this is very, like, again, esoteric review in this sense. It is very much about the mindset, but I think from what it seems where you're at, and given your past experiences, you've kind of proven that you're capable mechanically, right? Otherwise, you would never have reached Master Tier in the first place. So that says to me, based off everything that we're seeing right now, is that there is some underlying confidence issue or lack of poor reference point, mindset towards dominating your opponent, etc. I think you're at the stage where you just gotta fucking send it, dude. You gotta go in there, express your best self with the intention to dominate your opponent, and then we can see where you're at. We can see what it is that you don't understand, and then we can just build from it. We can just build off of that. I just think that right now, I need to see more from you with that mindset, and then if you drop back to D3, who gives a shit? At least we'll know what's going wrong, right? Like, you just got to really get the games in with this mentality. And that doesn't mean... remember, to clarify, this doesn't mean, like, fucking heavy trade 24/7, does it? Right? It's still doing what you believe is best in the matchup. You get what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, no, honestly, it helps a lot. I feel like my mindset has been a big problem. Hopefully, I think I'll be able to turn it around from here.
Yeah, so
try to bring a review later this week too, and see if I can read some quick.
If you can get some games in, and then maybe you can squeeze you at the end of the week, that'd be great. But yeah, have a go with that, and let me know how it feels. And worst case scenario, we don't squeeze you in at all, then we can get clips going and send me some clips, and I can take a look for you.
I'll just have to get master tiers so I can get reviewed on Friday.
That's also some motivation for you. Excellent. Thank you, dude.
All right, thanks.